With the first pick, the Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache. With the second pick, the Washington Wizards select Alex Sarr. With the third pick, the Houston Rockets select Reed Shepard. With the fourth pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Stephon Castle.
So the 2024 NBA draft is in the books, and as you guys saw in the intro, I'm going to be giving my winners and losers from this past draft. Like always, let me know what you agree with or disagree with in the comments below, and there's a lot I want to talk about, so let's just hop right in. The first winner I want to talk about, the Portland Trail Blazers. I thought the trade for Denny Avdia was 100% worth it. That 2029 draft pick you gave up in the trade, probably not going to be great. You know, it's the least favorable between Boston, Milwaukee, or whatever it ends up being. Not going to be great. You traded the 14th pick in this draft. It ended up being Bub Carrington. There's probably going to be some good guards on the board. You didn't need a guard. Maybe it was Khalil Ware. I'd rather have Denny Avdia this year. Maybe they could have gone a first for Malcolm Brogdon, but I love them getting Denny Avdia before draft night and then pairing him up with Donovan Clingan. That's a true front court that can work out together, and Denny is on such a great contract. It's descending over time. He's someone that improved his game on all aspects last year in Washington, is a good shooter, a good playmaker, a solid defender now, and is only getting better. And I think Portland is in a really good position right now. They have 8 first-round picks over the next 6 years. They took one of the more NBA-ready big men in this draft, but I think Clingan going to be a really good big man in this league one day, and now they have so many other trade pieces. They could try to sell high on Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant this offseason. They'll have DeAndre Ayton down the line. I'm sure they'll have plenty suitors for Robert Williams. I'm expecting a big year 2 jump for Scoot Henderson. I think Shaedon Sharpe, fully healthy, is going to be phenomenal next year. They got some nice younger role players in Tumani Kamara, Jabari Walker. We'll see what Chris Murray and Ryan Repair could do. I like this draft overall and what they did with the trade with the Wizards for the Portland Trail Blazers. And honestly, I really like what the Washington Wizards did as well in the draft specifically. The trade, I wouldn't have made it, but I see where they were coming from, but I love them getting my top guy in this draft, Alex Sarr, with the 2nd overall pick. You're going to be a winner in that aspect. And then them getting Bub Carrington at 14, I absolutely love them doing that because they need some guards, and if they keep Malcolm Brogdon, he could be a great mentor for Bub Carrington. This probably means that Tyus Jones is going to walk in free agency. They got Keyshawn George, who has a 6'10 wingspan at 3-and-D prospect mold later in the first round as well. I thought this was a really solid draft class for the Washington Wizards as a whole. I don't want to consider the Atlanta Hawks big losers for taking Zachary Rizache number 1 overall. Alex Sarr didn't really want to go to Atlanta, so I see them honoring that and not taking him with the number 1 pick and holding him hostage there. Even though I would have done that and I would say, Alex Sarr, get ready to learn Atlanta. But I think taking Zachary Rizache, a little bit of a reach. He was my 4th ranked prospect, so I wouldn't have taken him number 1 overall. Obviously, they have a lot of big roster decisions to make this offseason. I don't think they trade Trae Young, but do they trade DeJounte Murray? I think they were not like a full-time loser for me, but I think just after they handled AJ Griffin, dropped them into the loser category. They traded him before day 2 of the draft to the Houston Rockets for a 2nd round pick. He was the 16th overall pick back in the 2022 NBA draft. He had such a good rookie season, but they just didn't involve him at all last year in year 2. There's some off-the-court issues. Obviously, his dad went through a tough time coaching the Milwaukee Bucks, getting fired midway through the year, and then he gets shipped off to Houston for just a 2nd rounder. So that's just what dropped Atlanta into the loser category for me. A couple other teams didn't have a great 1st round pick in my opinion, or a great decision there, but made up for it in the 2nd round. The first one is going to be the Charlotte Hornets, so they're going to fall into the loser category. I thought Tidjane Salaün at 6 was a little bit of a reach. I think I would have traded down, just try to accumulate some more draft picks. I'm sure teams were offering a future 1st round pick to move up and get Donovan Clingan and jump the Portland Trail Blazers, take him at 6. Maybe it was Chicago, maybe it was Memphis. I'm sure a team was interested in doing so. Maybe even OKC at 12 you could have brought up that idea with, and I would have moved down 6 spots and you could have taken Topic or Khalil Ware or Jared McCain and had an extra 1st round pick to show for it. But I do get, taking the high upside guy in Tidjane Salaün. I just thought it was a little bit of a reach for them, but I really like them getting KJ Simpson in the 2nd round, an NBA ready point guard that could actually run the show for the Summer League, which I think is going to be massive for them. Summer League is very chaotic. A lot of guys trying to earn jobs. These guys have also never played with each other before, so there's a lot of turnovers. It's kind of gross. And getting somebody like KJ Simpson, who in kind of the same scenery at the combine, these guys have never played for each other. They're trying to improve scouts. He's slowed the game down, got his teammates involved. I really like that 2nd round pick for them, but I'm going to consider them losers for the first rounder. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, I did not really like the AJ Johnson pick whatsoever. This is a team that has struggled to develop younger prospects in the past, and they didn't do a good job with Marjon Beauchamp. They didn't do a good job with Andre Jackson this past year. They had 2 head coaches. I don't think Doc Rivers is going to prioritize development of those guys in Milwaukee. We never really saw those deep bench guys get developed in Philadelphia with him. Obviously, Maxey was a stud, but on the more of the Beauchamp, Andre Jackson tier. And AJ Johnson is like a 4-year project play, in my opinion. He was not even in my top 50. I doubt he makes a notable impact in year number 1. And this Bucks team on paper is not great. And this Bucks depth on paper isn't great. Obviously, they have studs in Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. Chris Middleton's good. Brook Lopez is good. Bobby Portis is good. But Pat Connaughton, AJ Green, you're going to rely a lot on those guys. And I don't think AJ Johnson is going to provide you much in his rookie year. I would have went with guys like Terrence Shannon, Baylor Shireman, that are more NBA ready that could have helped you out. But I did really like their second round pick in Tyler Smith. I think he's going to make a much more notable impact throughout his career and in his rookie season than AJ Johnson will. And AJ Johnson was picked in the first round. I guess I'm going to consider the Lakers winners in this draft, right? Like, you got Dalton Connect, my 10th ranked prospect. He was in the top 10 of my mock, and they got him at 17. That is an absolute steal. Yeah, he's on the older side. Yeah, he's not a great defender, but this dude is an NBA-ready offensive player that just had a phenomenal year at Tennessee. He is crazy athletic. The dude is one of the best shooters in this draft class as well, and is going to be a great off-ball player to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and you got him at 17. You know, they made that mistake last year. Cam Whitmore fell in the draft. They decided to still go with Jalen Hood-Schifino. Dalton Connect fell in the draft this year, and they didn't make the same mistake. So I want to consider the Lakers winners there. And they didn't have to take Bronny at 17. They didn't even have to trade up for him, right? They got him at 55. And honestly, for the feel-good story, LeBron being able to play with his son, Bronny, we've never seen anything like that before, with LeBron still being an elite player in this league. And they didn't have to give up any assets. No other team jumped them for Bronny. So honestly, the Lakers as a whole, Bronny as a whole, LeBron as a whole, big winners in this draft. You know what? I'm actually going to consider my New York Knicks winners in this draft. After night 1, if you guys watched the live stream, I was not happy with what they did. I sat through 3.5 hours of that draft, excited who the Knicks could have taken at 24, 25. I wanted Kolek, I wanted a Dembona, and then they traded down from 24 to 26, and then at 25, they took Bakome Dadiet, and I was like, all right, well, he's not helping us at all next year. I assume the Knicks wanted him to be a draft and stash so they could save a couple $1 million before going into the second apron, and now Dadiet kind of wants to play, and I'm fine. I think he's got good size, good potential, a good-looking shot, may not actually be a rotational guy till 2026, and then in the second round, though, they did a great job. They traded out of 26, 5 second rounders for the 26th pick. That ended up being Dylan Jones to the OKC Thunder, but I love what they did in the second. They traded down a couple times, got additional cash, additional future seconds, and they got Tyler Kolek at 41. He was one of my favorite point guard prospects outside of the lottery. I would have been thrilled if the Knicks took him at 24, and they got him in the second round. He's going to be somebody that can orchestrate this offense when Jalen Brunson is on the bench, and he could slow the game down, get his teammates involved, and he plays with a competitive gene. Love that selection for them. And then also getting Kevin McCullough in the late 50s. I thought Kevin McCullough could have gone 20 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kevin McCullough had a top 30 grade on my big board, and they got him late in the second round. He's got NBA level scoring right away. I don't think he's going to be an all-star in this league, but the Knicks may have just gotten a solid rotational player late in the second round. That is an absolute steal value-wise. And who knows, maybe they saved a little bit of money as well to potentially get a Isaiah Hartenstein back in free agency, but I still think that's wishful thinking. All right, the Utah Jazz as a team drafting-wise, big winners in this draft. They got a high upside guy in Cody Williams with the 10th overall pick. Good wingspan, should be a good defender with that length right away, and can be a nice complementary piece to Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George and those guys in year number 1. Hopefully he works on his aggressiveness, his competitiveness, and his consistency with his outside shot, and he's going to be a really good player in this league for a long time, and getting him at 10 makes me really excited about the Jazz's future with Cody Williams. And then they got Isaiah Collier at 29, the biggest faller in this draft. I had Isaiah Collier number 9 on my big board. I had him in my top 20 in my mock draft, and they got him at 29 for a team that doesn't really have a lot of point guard depth right now. Like, they have Taylor Horton-Tucker, Keontae George, maybe a 1, maybe a 2. This is going to be a big year to find that out, but they get Isaiah Collier, who can get downhill, can get to the rim, can score at ease, a solid shooter, can get teammates involved, and is a plus defender as well. I still have no idea how he fell to 29 in this draft. Does not make any sense whatsoever. And then they got Kyle Filipowski at 32, who, for the Jazz, getting Filipowski at 32, big winners, right? Kyle Filipowski could have been a first-round pick, can space the floor a little bit as a big man. You guys know that I'm a little bit lower on Filipowski, but I think at 32 is great value to wrap up this Jazz draft class as a whole. But for the losers, I think it's got to be Kyle Filipowski, man. He falls out of the first round. He was at the green room on draft night. Like, that just sucks to see. I feel really bad for those prospects. But also, there's a lot of weird off-the-court stuff with Kyle Filipowski, that he's dating currently his babysitter from back in the day that's 7 years older than him. She went to his high school prom as a 24-year-old. She's Mormon. She told him to cut his parents off from him, and now he doesn't talk to his family. And of course, he gets drafted to Utah, of all places. I don't want to speculate any more on it, but it's a really weird situation. I also think big winners from the NBA draft, Frenchmen. Oh my God, we had 3 French players drafted in the top 10 and 4 in the first round, with Zachary Risacher being the number 1 overall pick, Alex Sarr being the number 2 overall pick, Frenchman going 1 and 2, Tidjane Salaün 6th overall, and then Bakomi Dadiet 25th overall. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I also think the Minnesota Timberwolves are big winners in this draft as well. They found Mike Conley's replacement once he ends up retiring eventually in Rob Dillingham. They gave up a 2030 swap and a 2031 unprotected first, which is definitely really risky, but if you assume Anthony Edwards is going to be there in 2031, he's still going to be in his prime. They're going to be playing winning basketball. I don't think they're afraid giving up those picks. To get Rob Dillingham at 8, my 6th ranked prospect in this draft is going to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are in the conference finals. This is a huge get for them. He can go shot for shot with Anthony Edwards eventually. He's one of the better shooters in this draft, and Minnesota desperately needs some shooting off the bench, and he could heat up at any moment, and I think he's going to be a great starting point guard next to Anthony Edwards long term once Mike Conley retires. And then I also love them getting Terrence Shannon with the 27th overall pick in this year's draft. He's got NBA ready shot creation. He can get to the rim. He can get downhill. He's 6'6". He can lock in on the defensive end of the floor, and he's someone that can help the Timberwolves next year in the playoffs. They have a really good rotation. We know about their front court. We know about Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's improvement on the defensive end of the floor, Mike Conley. But now you're adding Terrence Shannon and Rob Dillingham to that bench with Naw and Naz Reid. That's one of the better bench units in basketball in 2025. And my last loser are going to be Zach Edey doubters. So Zach Edey ends up going 9th overall to the Memphis Grizzlies. I feel like I had to mention this in some way, shape, or form. I think I wouldn't have taken Zach Edey at 9, so you could say I would call them losers, but I'm really interested to see how it works in Memphis. John Morant loves to get downhill. Zach Edey may clog the paint, but Jaren Jackson Jr. should be getting some really good looks from downtown. Obviously, Bane's going to get his looks, and Marcus Smart. I'm really interested to see if Memphis is going to give Zach Edey 8 to 10 post-ups a night and let him go to work inside, where he was phenomenal last year at Purdue. He was the National Player of the Year. He should be a good enough rim protector, I think, right away, and I'm interested to see, just like I know, I said interested a couple times, but I'm really intrigued on how he's going to be under Taylor Jenkins. Can he play in a playoff series for Memphis next year? Because they're still a really good team on paper. They should be in the playoffs, and will they be able to utilize Zach Edey to his fullest potential, or was this going to be a heavy reach and we're all going to be like, yeah, this is why we weren't going to take Zach Edey in the top 10. I just think it's a fascinating situation, and I can't wait to see how it plays out in his rookie season. And yeah, that is going to be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy my winners and losers of the 2024 NBA draft. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, I would appreciate it if you dropped a thumbs up. And if you were not subscribed, make sure you do for all types of draft content for the 2025 NBA draft. I'm going to be doing a way too early 2025 mock soon, so make sure you're subscribed, because that draft class could be one of the best we have seen depth-wise and star power-wise in recent memory, and I can't wait. So thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.